Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode here on ESGNet of Madden 16 Green Bay Packers franchise. This is Packer Talk, and we're getting ready for episode number 11 as we're going to get ready to look at the first 4 weeks of our second season as the Green Bay Packers. So, we're just 17 weeks away from the Super Bowl, and of course just 23 weeks away from the draft. But before we even need to think about next season, right now this current season is going pretty well for us. We're 4-0 right now, and we just getting ready for the second quarter of this season. The next 4 games here coming up. Take a look here, and we're gonna look at the first 4 weeks. Play against the Lions in week 1, and there you see they're a pretty big game here for us as we just dominated them. Only giving up 16 points, but we just slammed them there, 52-16 against the Lions there. We did have a bit of trouble there with Forte, as he is now a new member of the Lions there in Detroit. But for the most part there, we actually kept him in check there for quite a bit of the game. But 327 yards there for Aaron Rodgers, 25-34. For him, 5 touchdowns in that game. As for Stafford, there you see he gave up 3 picks there, and he was 15 of 28, almost barely getting over 50% of his passes completed. Eddie Lacy, 24 carries, 105 yards with 2 touchdowns. Forte, like I said, we tried to keep him in check. That first half was pretty rough. But then the second half, we were able to find the key plays that we needed, and we were able to shut him down. But there you see 14 carries, 73 yards, 1 touchdown there for him. He had, like I said, quite a bit of broken tackles there. He had 7 in that game. And like I said, it was kind of hard rounding him up there for a while there. I really thought he was going to have 100 yards before we got to half, but that was not the case. All right, Richard Rodgers, there you see 11 receptions, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns there. For the most part, receiving-wise, looked pretty good. Kind of wish we tried to throw to Jordy Nelson here. This is only the first week of the season. Him and Cobb don't even reach 100 yards for the game. But I believe Cobb had 2 touchdowns, and I think Jordy had 1 himself. So touchdowns, wise, we did pretty well. But when it comes to, actually getting the yardage there, was not our luck. You see, defensively, you see Sterling Irwin, our rookie here, our big rookie, our number 1 pick. There, of course, he was the 32nd pick of the draft. He had 2.5 sacks there. So with him, that first week there was actually pretty good. He actually stepped up, showed why he was the number 1 pick for our first round pick there. And really stepped up as a rookie there. So I believe here, I think in this first 4 weeks, I think he at least had a sack in a game. So that's pretty good numbers there coming from him, from that linebacker position. Like I said, originally I think we scouted him as a right outside linebacker, but we realized that he was actually pretty good in the middle. So we're going to stick him there, and he's actually going to be... he was a middle linebacker, and we moved over to right. So he's a starter right linebacker for us. Now we'll go to week 2. There you see Green Bay Packers 33-7 there. Giants, what can you say? I mean, Eli not playing the best of his abilities. Only scoring 1 touchdown there. There in the third quarter. But there you see Manning, 97 yards there, 1 touchdown, 1 interception for him. As for Rodgers, 246 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception for him. He played 64% of his passes. As for, Tulski, never mind. Rodgers actually was knocked out of the game. Excuse me. I realized that when I looked at the stats there. Rodgers actually knocked out of the game there, and he didn't come back till the following week. So. This was a bit of a scare for a while there because I was really thinking, I'm like, oh boy, this is, our season, our offense really holds around Aaron Rodgers, and if Rodgers is knocked out, we're going to have a long year. But that was not the case. But then you see Lacey actually stepped up quite a bit. 32 carries, 143 yards. He had a touchdown there for us. Eli Manning had a fumble there. He was just not his day at all, both in the air and on the ground. Randall Cobb, 9 receptions, 121 yards, 1 touchdown. Richard Rodgers, he sees 4 receptions, 70 yards, 1 touchdown. Odell Beckham, he did get in the end zone there once. He had there 26 yards, but 3 receptions there. Quite low in the receptions. Cruz was non-factor in the game. Really, honestly, there was not too many balls thrown his way, and really he wasn't covered that often. Odell Beckham was kind of the guy we were kind of focusing on, and just trying to put pressure on Eli, which we were capable of doing in that game. Now we'll take a look at the defense there, and of course, like I said, defensively, we got a couple shots in there on Eli, but Mike Daniels there, you see two sacks there for him. He had a great game, and again, our rookie gets another good sack there. He gets his sack for the game, and like I said, he's actually been stepping up here. I realize him and Percy Gray are both from Georgia, so they're teammates, and I didn't know this until I actually was looking at some of their attributes and stuff like that. I'm like, oh wow, they're drafted in the same class, they're in the same, they're on the same school, went to the same school. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. So looking at that and everything, I'm like, oh, I didn't notice I did that. So but we'll go ahead and go to the last game, or the most recent game here, game 4. You got, let's see here. Oh yeah, you got the Colts there. They time possession right there, pretty close for both teams. Holding on to the ball. Luck, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Rodgers, this is the game he came back after he was knocked out the previous week. 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 26 of 29, completing 89% of his passes. Yeah, he went off, to say the least. Rodgers just picked up the ball and took that one and decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to do whatever I want with this football. So that's definitely what he did. Eddie Lacy, you see 118 yards. I believe this is his 4th straight game that he had 100 yards or more. But he does get that 1 touchdown. Randall Cobb, 169 yards, 9 carries, and he got 4 touchdowns there. Richard Rodgers, 6 carries, 116 yards, 1 touchdown there for him. Nelson, 4 catches for 32 yards and 1 touchdown. And Adams also 3 catches, 90 yards, 1 touchdown. And I believe Gray also had a touchdown. I believe that's his first touchdown of his career, and he was part of that. Just a ensemble of those 8 touchdown passes there against the Colts. So nothing against the Colts, but we had, Rodgers was really upset for him unable to play last week against the Giants there. So he had to take his aggressions out, and of course, happened to be the next team that was on the docket. So he had to take care of the Colts there. There you see another sack, half a sack there for our rookie there. Again, he's been, like I said, been everywhere on the ball. You see he had 9 tackles for 9 tackles and 4 tackles for loss there. So he's pretty good. I mean, getting around being around the football, recognizing defenses, stuff like that. I think we made a pretty good pick there when it comes to our linebacker position, and hopefully we can build around that for the upcoming season, as we are actually already looking at some possible scenarios here with some people as we're getting closer. Here in the next 4 weeks, we got to make some decisions coming up with personnel-wise, who we're going to keep for going to potentially, hopefully, to the playoffs, and then going to the off season. deciding who we're going to keep around. So let's go to the actually no, this is the fourth game here. Excuse me. This is Tennessee, and this is the game that we played in their new stadium. Final score 24-3. Rodgers 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions there for him. Marcus Mariota 59 yards, 2 interceptions there. We just he ran on us quite a bit, and that was something I don't like to see from our quarterbacks. But he kept us on our toes here, even though we only gave up 3 points in the game. He definitely did a great job of trying to really get his team moving here. Just wish we would have seen more passing from him because they were too dedicated to the running game there. You see Doug Martin there. You see 12 carries for 30 yards and no touchdowns. They were just about almost every other play they were trying to run the ball, and especially when tonight it was not even necessary for them to run the ball. But they're used to receiving. Randall Cobb 152 yards, 6 receptions, 1 touchdown. Nelson 5 receptions, 50 yards, 1 touchdown from him. And of course, Doug Martin had that 3 receptions and only really gained a yard out of those 3 receptions there. Like I said, we pretty much stuffed him when it comes to the passing and really jamming them up and hitting them harder when we needed to in those type of situations. Defensively, you check those numbers out right there, and Blanton right there was a guy that just really got onto us there towards the pretty much the third quarter. He was kind of a hawk on the ball. He just was everywhere, and he had those 2 interceptions there. One of them almost took back, but we caught up with them, and were able to stop him from getting the pick 6. But yeah, first 4 weeks looking good right now. Like I said, just numbers wise, looking pretty good. I think again we'll take a look here as we look at the final game of the first 4 weeks. Clayton Dixon got his interception there, which was a nice one, and then you see Irwin again gets another sack there. Not too many tackles this week, but he does get the important statistical numbers there, and that's a sack. So, like I said, he's been getting a sack, or at least, somewhat of a half a sack, at least a game here, and he's really stepping up. All right, I'm trying to stop yawning here, but we'll move on here to the remainder of the season here. Of course, this week being the bye week here, we just got done with. And that video's should be already up already, but we got the Bears, Seattle, and then I think the Redskins coming up on the next week 6, 7, and 8. There you look at some of the statistical numbers right now. Statistically, where we're at, there's our rushing yards right now so far here in the first 4 weeks. Running the ball here quite well here. Like I said in the week 5 video, I kind of mentioned that, we having Eddie Lacy, and he's getting this is contract year. He's been running the ball pretty well here. He's been running the ball, getting 100 yards per game, and getting him the touchdown and stuff. And it all depends on how well, he's done well the first 4 weeks. Now let's look at the next 4, and just take a bit at a time. But yeah, it's going to be really important to see where he's at because, if we don't sign him, for sure someone else is going to sign him. And he may not be the starter, he may be the backup or whatnot. But we do want to, try to utilize him as much as possible to see how we can use, if we want to decide to change our mind and use him for next, kind of have him come back next season. We want him to play the best football he can, and so he can get the best and fair deal that he can for his upcoming contract. Running backs are a dime a dozen. They're kind of that commodity where you have them, and you only can have them for that short window of time before things start going bad for them and everything. And I don't want to be a type of owner that will only use them and abuse them. We're going to start utilizing him and Starks a little bit more often in the offense here in the next couple of weeks. Not to mention John Cohn, or excuse me, I don't know why I say Cohn. John Kuhn will be also in the mix there. We've been utilizing some here a little bit more in the running game when it comes to short runs. Even the short pass there, he's actually got pretty good numbers there when it comes to the catch. So yeah, we're going to try to utilize those three guys as much as possible. I wish there was a way where we can sub them in, have them in certain packages before the game instead of doing it during game. Because a lot of times you can't always put them in packages you want because you're, the play clock's running down and you kind of want to get the play off before you get penalized for something. So we're going to try to implement that, and certain plays, like try to sneak them in there and and substitutions and stuff like that. So Lacy just doesn't have look like he's worn out and worn down and stuff like that. I will say he is a downhill runner when it comes to the late third quarter going into the fourth quarter, especially when we have a good lead. He's getting those extra yards there to keep the clock moving and keep it going, and I'm only hoping that will continue as we go along here in the next couple of weeks, and so on and so forth. Now I will say we are looking at some possible replacements for him, like for next season, possibly some rookies. We try to draft a halfback or two, and there's actually a couple halfbacks that I am looking at that we might have a pretty good opportunity to get a hold of. Not to mention, we are looking at free agency. We may end up bringing somebody up during free agency here, as we're just 3 weeks away from the trade deadline. We can actually have a chance here to get some decent free agents out there, and there's actually some pretty decent names out there that I think one of them, one guy I'm kind of looking at here, and you guys can agree with me or disagree with me. But the one name I'm kind of looking at right now is Monty Ball. He's a free agent. He did some great things there with Denver last year, and we'll see what he can do. Or at least in real life, he was like that in real life. But on the game, he has some pretty good stats there. That I feel like we can use him maybe as another back that we can have in the back field there, and possibly maybe even use him in some passing situations there, because he also has some pretty good numbers there as a good decent receiver. So you see 1,149 yards for Aaron Rodgers here, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions for him, and he's completed 72% of all the passes so far he has done. There you see 444 yards there for Eddie Lacy at this point, 100 carries there, 5 touchdowns for him. I believe he's in second place right now in the league when it comes to, I think, both yardage and touchdowns there. I think Jamal Charles might have the same amount of touchdowns, but I think yardage-wise, I think Charles might be somewhere anywhere from 50 to 100, anywhere from 50 to about 120 yards more than he does right now. So yeah, honestly, that's some good company there. But we got to strive for better. We got to try to get better here, and like I said, if not for us, possibly for another team next year, because it'll be really interesting how the other teams will, if we don't decide to re-sign him. Which, by the way, right now, I don't want to say we're not going to re-sign him, but anything could happen with how things go for the season. But if we happen to re-sign him, which there's a good possibility we won't re-sign him. It'd be really interesting to see where he'll go at next year. I would like to trade him somewhere, preferably somewhere in the NFC or the AFC side, so we don't see him as much. I really don't want to see him, get picked up by, the Bears or the Lions or the Vikings, like that, because that would really, really irritate me because then I have to play him twice a year, and that would probably be a good situation for him to say, hey, look what you guys missed out on. I don't like that. I've had that happen to me. Well, I don't know. It's happened to me quite a few times, not just in Madden, but also in basketball. When I used to play college basketball, and it was not fun. It was not fun, especially in college football when you're recruiting those guys, and then they come back and it's like, oh yeah, I should have recruited you a little bit harder. But here we are, just taking a look at some of the season stats right now for the rest of the positions there: offense, defense, kicking, and punting. And you guys can take a look at those. But yeah, these first 4 weeks so far have been pretty good here. Trying to open up the playbook a little bit more. Packers. There's actually quite a few plays that I've been running in practice that I think we'll start running here pretty soon here in these next couple of weeks against these other teams. I will say, we got a tough schedule coming up. We got Bears at home. We got Seattle, which I think is the next game coming up. That's going to be on the road. We got Redskins on the road, and I think we got the Vikings on the road after that. So I think it's I think it's the Bears, Seattle, Redskins, and then Vikings coming up. And those are some of the re-signs that we're looking at. We're negotiating with a lot of these guys. Well, right now we're negotiating with Kuhn right now, but everyone else right now, they're interested in talking. Some of these guys have been re-signed already, and some of these guys will probably be released here, and I'll have a video about that, showing you guys those released and who got released and why here pretty soon here. Within the next between episodes between I think weeks 5 and 8, because I kind of want to do it right before trade deadline, because we could possibly use some of those guys as trade bait for some other teams that are there's not a lot of teams, but there's some teams that are kind of desperate for certain guys on the team or positions there, and we can use that as possibly trade bait there. But there's some of the top stories there. You see a couple of Chiefs right now. They look pretty good. They re-signed some of their players. Andrew Luck just recently got a contract there, a 6-year contract extension with the Colts. That's going to pay him $118.8 million. So Colts have him in a long-term deal. We are looking at a couple of players there for a long-term deal. When I say long-term deal, I'm saying it's only about 4 or 5 years, and I'll show you guys some of those here as we get closer to the deadline. But yeah, just some of the stories that are going on right now around the league, we'll see how this all comes about here coming up in the next couple of episodes. So just ran out here, like I said, first 4 weeks looking very, very good, and like it says right there, just four quick wins there, and looking good, and pretty prominent here as they were one of the heavy picks right now for the upcoming playoffs here. We'll take a look here at some of the top players. Aaron Rodgers, there you see in week 1, your top offensive player there in the NFC. Do we have any more guys here? We got Marcus Mariota there for the AFC. Rodgers again back in week 3. That's when he had those 8 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, which is the single game record there. So congratulations to him. But yeah, we'll go ahead and take a look at week 4. And yeah, pretty much nobody else from the Packers there representing us. You got 2 Eagles there, both Barnwin and Manuel, who will get the offensive and defensive players of the week. Offensively, there you see our statistics right now. Like I said, 4-0. You got the Bengals, Packers, and Jags of all people right now, who are looking very sharp right now. I'm kind of interested in want to see play the Jags. I think we do play them in week 17. I think this season. So hopefully they'll stay pretty relevant there, and hopefully it'll be a good game if we can play against them if they continue their hot streak. There you see right now there's just a log jam there in second place there with the Texans, Titans, and Colts all 2-2. So that division looks pretty competitive. And then you take a look at the AFC East. Dolphins 3-1, Patriots 1-3. So that's a kind of a flip flop there that we're not accustomed to. And then you see the Chiefs and Chargers both 3-1, Broncos 1-3, and Raiders 0-4 in the AFC West. Take a look here at the AFC North. That's us, 4-0. Vikings 2-1. Lions 1-3, and the Bears 0-3. So they've lost now 3 straight. And like I said, they're going to be coming up to Green Bay here in the next episode to face us, and we'll see how that will go, how that will pan out here. Take a look at the NFC South, and Saints and Panthers both jogging for the top spot there, 2-2, and the Falcons and Bucks 1-3. Cowboys leading the pack right now in the NFC East with 3-1. Redskins in the basement with 1-3, and the Eagles and Giants both sitting there at 2-2. In the AFC or NFC West, Seahawks 3-1, 49ers 2-1, Cardinals 2-2, and the Rams 0-4. And yes, people, the Rams are still in St. Louis here, at least in this version of the franchise. But take a look here at some of the players that we're looking at currently right now on our draft board, and there's a couple of names there. Tight end is an area that I guess they're saying that we need to look at, so we're going to look at a couple of guys in the tight end position. There you see if we draft this guy, we'll have 3 Rodgers on our team. That's pretty crazy. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because then I have to, figure out what different names to call them. So, because we got Richard Rodgers, we got Aaron Rodgers, and then we have, Jacoby Rodgers, and that's just going to be just too much. But yeah, there's some tight ends that we're looking at here. A couple guys that are late first rounders. I mean, the chances of us getting some of those late first rounders, it just depends on what the needs are for other teams. I know in years past, it's usually, the guys I look at, that's the same guys they're going to be going after. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to worry about them. But for right now, we don't really need a tight end, but just to look and see who's out there and what is, people are. What we could possibly get is always nice. So you see Ferguson there. I got a good power move, good pursuit as a left end. I think this year we're going to work on our defensive line a little bit more. I know for sure we're going to try to draft a couple guys there, and when it comes to the ends and to the defensive tackles there. But for the most part, I feel secure with our corners and safeties. For right now, but yeah, I mean, work on the I think we may end up working on the defense a little bit more here in the future for next season. So, but it just depends on how well the defense plays. I mean, if the defense plays really well this year, then we may not go that way. We may go a little bit more offensively. But I'm kind of more of a defensive oriented kind of guy, and I think that's what we'll end up going for this season. But there you see a Monday night game, our first Monday night game of the year, and it's going to be against the 0-4 now Chicago Bears. So the Bears will be there at Lambeau Field on a Monday night. We'll take on them, and we'll see what we can do here in Week 6. So can we continue going undefeated? Can we go 5-0 against a very desperate 0-4 Chicago Bears team. A very well-rounded defensive. Even though they are 0-4, they are pretty good at defense this season. And can we get around them? We'll have to see. But that is it for Packer Talk this week as as we close up this episode. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Green Bay Packers franchise. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. Links are down below in the description. And as always, keep yourselves healthy, and I will see you guys next time.